If there is one essential oil that you have in your repertoire that probably is collecting dust, I can almost guarantee you this oil is part of that collection. So stay tuned to figure out what this is. You're listening to the Essential Oils Scoop podcast. We're here to help you confidently using essential oils in your daily life. No fluff, just real talk and practical tips. Each episode brings you education, inspiration, and of course, our scoop of the day. Let's elevate your wellness one drop at a time. I'm not going to lie, this has dust. I truly see like, hi, my name's Vicky, and that's why I did the intro that way because I keep forgetting all the benefits of Spikenard essential oil. I
I
know of
think
one, and that's it. I get to do more research and figure out how this tool can work for me.
I think I use this a lot more for emotional than I do for physical benefits for
Mm.
me. Um, but I'm looking at a couple of these different things in the book and I'm like, oh yeah, I actually need to put this into work like today, this afternoon. Like, what am
As
I
soon as we're
waiting?
done, you're like right now.
Like, why am I
Yeah.
yeah, there's some really interesting I want to give a little bit of a historical reference about spikenard really quick. So spikenard has been around for literally thousands of years. Okay. It's not like a brand new, it's nothing new agey. I actually hate it when people say essential oils are new agey because I'm like, oh,
I
it's
almost could have paid money. I'm like, I know where Sarah's going right now.
like
Yeah.
I can't stand like, oh, is Cleopatra new agey? Sorry, didn't realize. Like, were the Romans new agey? Because sorry, didn't realize. Was Jesus new agey? Because sorry, didn't
Don't even get
realize.
me
Like,
don't even get me started.
like essential oils are not new agey. They're not new. They're not like they've been around for thousands of years. So let's get into this for a second. So, spikenard. There are actually several references in the Bible to spikenard.
Mhm.
And I know we have a couple of episodes we've talked about ancient oils and I know we've talked about spikenard in those other podcasts and I will link them to this podcast. But I will tell you right now, I love spikenard. And you've probably, if you've listened to our podcasts before, I'm sure you've heard me talk about this, about the stories of spikenard. Um, so this is an ointment that was given to what that Mary when she washed after she washed Jesus's feet, she anointed his feet with spikenard. Okay, with spikenard, and it was very expensive. Like think of a half a year's worth of wages
Yeah, at
for
that
this.
time.
Okay.
Mm.
Half a year. So even, I mean, even if we bring this, 2000 years into existence, if you had something that was worth half a year of your wages, like that's stupid expensive for ointment, right? Like you would not probably purchase it.
No, this would be for the elite. Elite.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So
Someone that
there's a
has
point.
billions of dollars or millions of dollars a
Right.
year. Hmm.
So there's a point where Judas is like, and we know Judas has got some serious money issues, right? Like he's got some abundance issues, and he's got some. Obviously, if you're going to sell your soul basically for 30 pieces of silver, you've got some serious issues. But this is one of the times that we hear Judas talk about money, and this I know he's like the person who's kind of in charge of their coin purse of like their savings or whatever, but he gets on Mary. He's like, "Hey, why are you spending all this money on this when we could be feeding the poor? We could be doing so many other things. We could paying our alms, all these things, right?" And I love Jesus's soft rebuke because he's like, "She only has me for but a little time." And there will always be poor. There will always be somebody in need. There always is going to be extra need in the world. But for her in this moment, this is what she can do and prepare my feet. Right. And he's basically like, in a very subtle way, letting them know that, like, context clues, if they could go back, they could see that Christ is preparing his disciples during different times of like of what's to come. They're just not
Hmm.
quite getting it, right? because sometimes our
Mhm.
hindsight is so much more clear than and we are looking at this thousands of years and after the fact. So we have more facts in front of us and for them, it's just like every day, right? But there she is. She's anointing his feet and she is, and this is this is basically like her gift to Jesus Christ. So why do I love this oil so much? Mainly because of Mary and Jesus and their interaction, mainly because it's so, I mean, like it shows so much love and generosity and gratitude that she has for the Savior. And so that this is why I really love this oil. And I love that we have it now, that we can use
Yeah.
this. Now, caveat, this is not always the favorite smelling oil for people.
No.
Some
No.
some people it's like a love hate. Like you absolutely love this or you absolutely hate this.
Okay, I semi agree with you. I'm not on the spectrum of love and hate. It's more of there's just so many other beautiful aromatic oils that I would turn to. I've never been drawn to the aroma of spikenard, but I don't hate it. I just will mask it with other oils.
See, and
What about
I'm
you?
like me, I have like this it almost is like, and it's not an internal oil, but it makes me salivate.
Oh, does it? I haven't been aware of it. Maybe next
Yeah,
time I inhale it, next time I
and
smell it, because it's
I can
non-internal.
I can feel it in my back of my gland, like
Ah,
the salivatory. Yeah, yeah. So it's
fascinating.
interesting for me. So that's like a physical reaction that I have to this oil. So I personally love this oil. I think I can see why when we talk about the different constituents of this oil, what it does, it's anti-inflammatory, anti-spasmodic, it's sedative, it's antibacterial, antifungal, it's a deodorant, a
Hmm.
laxative, and a tonic.
Hmm.
So, I mean, if you're thinking about anti-inflammatory, anti-spasmodic, sedative, antibacterial, antifungal, I mean, of course, this is why we'd want to wash our feet with it. I mean, wash our feet and then anoint with this, right? Like this
Yes.
makes perfect sense to me. Um, but I want to go into like what the book has to say about some of the uses for this because I think this is like an unsung hero that we don't talk about the physical benefits of this oil nearly enough.
I will just in all honesty, it's more on the emotional side, and you touched on it. Like you use it more for the emotions, and that's the only thing other than insomnia and sleep. I'm relearning all the other benefits that you see in front of you of what spikenard can do. So highlight one of them. I mean, there's so much here. What do you want to
Well,
share with our
I think
listeners?
the first one I'm gonna highlight. It's not my favorite use, but the first one I want to highlight just because we've talked about the story about Jesus, right? We talked about why we she would use this. Um, so I'm gonna talk about irritated skin because we're talking like sandals, right? Like they basically were flip-flop people, and me, I'm a
Your kind of
flip-flop
people.
girl. Yeah, these are my people. And so I know from wearing flip-flops, your feet get dirty. They get exposed to things, good or bad, whatever. Um, and it's saying for aged and irritated skin. And I know that this is a really great moisturizer. So when you're talking dry desert, walking around in sand, which sand is basically like an exfoliator the whole time,
Hmm.
you need a moisturizer. You just do for your
Hmm.
feet. So this is I wanted to bring that one first just because we had just talked about why would she want to use this? Like, what's the point of this? And we do know it's a deodorant. It does help with the smell, right? And like, let's face it, back in those days in Jerusalem, we didn't have deodorant.
Mm-mm.
Was not the same.
Cleanliness was hard. That's right. With what they had, the means to be clean, it was way more difficult than it is today.
Way more.
In this,
So
Mhm.
deodorant, to smell. I mean, it is a very strong, when you smell spikenard, it's very strong. It's very, I like some people would say pungent. I think it's just strong, just a very strong odor.
How would you describe it? I don't have my bottle with me. It's in my bathroom because of the skin. And I forgot that it was for skin, but it's in my bathroom for a reason. How would you describe the aroma? If you were to compare it to another essential oil, maybe?
I don't even think it has the same aroma as any other oil. Like honest, I don't think.
It reminds me of like a blue tansy and something. Like a very softer, like a blue tansy and a wood oil had a
Hmm.
baby. Like
Um, I think it smells earthy. It's very
earth,
earthy,
uh-huh.
very earthy, almost like wet
Musky,
earth,
but not.
wet earth, like digging in the garden, wet earthy type of smell. Maybe digging in the
Yes.
garden right after a good rain,
Hmm.
type of a smell. Um,
Earthy's
slight.
good. I can understand earthy because it's a root. Spikenard is a root. We steam distill it. It's from Nepal.
I would say there's like a slight hint of like almost salty,
Hmm.
like the salty air, like when you're at like the ocean and you've got like a salty air breeze type of thing. So a little
Hmm.
bit of that and a little bit of like earthy mud, like where you would find earthworms, like that deep into the soil, like if you're
Are we
playing in it.
selling it for you guys? Are you just so excited to use it as your personal perfume? Maybe
Would
not, but
would this be my choice for perfume? No. This would not be my first choice for a perfume per se.
mhm,
Um, would I mix it with some other things to make a perfume? Absolutely.
mhm.
Have I done that? Yes. But I would say this is definitely more medicinal for me. Like the
Yes.
smell is definitely more of a medicinal smell where you would want to add some extra florals, um, maybe some citruses to it. I know
Mhm.
putting citruses with it smells so freaking good. So we'll talk
It
about that in a
does.
few minutes. But yeah, I would say this is a great oil.
Well, you also mentioned, so you named the properties, anti-inflammatory, and all the whole list. But when it comes to menstrual discomfort, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. If I was a woman struggling with any menstrual issue or maybe even infertility, I would apply this over my abdomen on a constant basis. I can understand why during your cycle, if you struggle with cramps, one, up your iron. I'm not a doctor, but definitely up your iron if you know ahead of time, because that will definitely help decrease those cramps. But a heating pad, like castor oil, like even a castor oil pack with spikenard, I can totally see it really helping and aiding in that area. Again, anti-inflammatory. So muscle tension and spasms. Like if we can reduce the inflammation within our bodies, there's so many more benefits that trickle down. Like if we can, right? Sarah's shaking her head. Again, if you're not on YouTube or see us, like join us. Come join us. I'm very, very visual and hands-on. So I'm trying to make that connection for our listeners. Why would you get spikenard? Well, there's a list of reasons, but always go back. Like the properties, anti-inflammatory, anti-spasmodic, sedative, antibacterial, antifungal, deodorant. There is a category for almost all things here.
Yeah,
Sarah, what's sticking out? What do you, I know your brain's like talking.
I know
I
my
can,
brain's going a million miles an hour. So the other thing it talked about, you were talking about menstrual issues and infertility, and that is perfect. Candida, vaginal thrush, candida, yeast type stuff going on.
so how would they use it?
I
Other than
this
get yourself the dang book, people.
um diluted, obviously I would do it. I would dilute. Now, so here's a couple. Now again, not a doctor. This is just if you know, if you're in my bathroom with me and I'm telling you what's going on, right? I would say this would go on a couple drops on with some castor oil onto a tampon and then inserting after it's on in the tampon. If you've got, if it's, a, I mean, obviously, if it's severe, go get and seek medical attention, right?
Absolutely.
But if we're starting off with like a little itchy and you know the symptoms, when you know, right? Like I don't have to go through the
Mhm.
symptoms of that. But like if you're starting to have some itchiness, especially on like the folds of the skin, you're going to want
Mhm.
to just put a little bit with maybe some fraction of coconut oil, some castor oil or coconut oil. You're going to want to put some on there, diluted, obviously, um,
Mhm.
because it's a sensitive area. We want to dilute. I'm a big fan of dilution in those sensitive areas, but that's what I would use for itchiness. I would actually
Mhm.
probably even mix this with a little bit of tea tree, personally.
Same, same. And I would do a spray. So I have a spray bottle for, downstairs issues. Luckily, I haven't had to use it. But again, like I treat my gut. I do a lot of other things on a consistent basis, right? Get yourself on VMG or lifelong vitality as your foundation. And we have multiple episodes on that. But tying that in, Sarah, I think that's a great idea. Now, you do you. Again, we're not diagnosing, we're not treating, and we're not doctors here. But our personal use, 1000%. And I'm almost positive Spikenard is in this blend. It's just a 2-ounce spray bottle and has a little bit of FCO. And I've heard stories of women using very clean cotton pads, the disposable.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah,
like the non-toxic cotton pads, because a lot of them are
yeah.
toxic out there.
And that's what I'm talking about for tampons too. Please, no, if I partake of using tampons, if, and that's a big
Hmm.
if, we could go on
Hmm.
a whole different tangent on like what
Right.
period products are best for women. But
Yeah.
I definitely use all natural cotton tampons. I do not use your Tampax and all of your other ones because they have been linked to cancer with cervical cancer with the chemicals that they use. I
Sarah,
don't know why
let's have
you
a conversation about this. Let's make this an episode. And friends,
you
if you would
should.
like this, comment down below. I think this
Mhm.
is a very powerful conversation that requires a stage of its own.
Yeah, let's talk about it. So anyway, let's go back to Spikenard because I think we'll cover this on a different topic. But one of the things I thought was really interesting in here is, and I'm going down several, is down to terminally ill in hospice.
Mm.
I was like, that's really interesting.
So I know what I thought of as soon as I read that. I'm like, that's interesting. Okay, and we just, when this episode airs, it's going to be right after Easter or shortly after Easter. And what do we do? The washing of the feet, the anointing, right? I tied it back to that. It's like giving the beauty of spikenard to the ones we love. I took it there. Where did you take that?
No, crossing over loved ones.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Hmm. And what symbolically that does. I mean, there's Mary. She's preparing Jesus for the next step of his life. Here we are. We can do the same. We can prepare our loved ones for the next step. So I thought that was very interesting. Of course, yeah, we're on probably, thinking Easter. We're thinking, you know, this time of year. This is the perfect time of year to be talking about this. Um, so that was one that I was thinking of. And then we can go back up to like insomnia, stress, tension, spasms, all of these things.
Uh, I love, oh, sorry, go ahead. What were you going to
Just
say?
like all of these things with insomnia and stress and muscle tension and spasms and stuff, it's all to
Hmm.
calm us. And if we go back to that idea of that transition to for people, it's to calm. It's to feel peace. It's to feel like this is like a little bit sedative, right? We talked about that in the properties. This is to calm stress. And it can be a very scary time for some people when they're making a transition into the next step of life, into the next world. It can be very scary for loved ones, for people for us that are being left behind. This
Hmm.
can be a very good for those tension. I mean, I don't know about you, but when my mom was like when we were in the throes of planning her funeral, I definitely had stress tension in my shoulders, neck, you know. Put this on. If this is something you're going through, if you're going through a very stressful time, put this on to relieve some of that muscle tension and to
Hmm.
give yourself some peace and some calm.
Yeah, I agree. There, in this book, again, get yourself the reference book, my friends. Do yourself a favor here. It's talking about brain issues, convulsions, seizures. I'm just reading from the book, and it says apply to the back of the neck or affected areas. Detoxing, cellulite, like anti-inflammatory, friends. There's not just one essential oil that's going to support your body in doing the healing. Again, these oils don't do the work. They allow your body to do the work that it already wants to do. And so when I'm reading this, I'm like, okay, this makes sense to me. It also talks about, indigestion, gas, uh, abdominal issues, okay? On the spectrum of abdominal issues, and this would be a great oil to apply topically over your abdomen, around your abdomen, or a castor oil packet. We all have areas of our wellness that need a little more TLC. We're all completely different, so our areas will be different. But I promise you there's an oil for it. And so hopefully we did a good job just highlighting a few of the ways that you can use spikenard to help you on a physical level. But I know Sarah and I want to transition to the emotional side, and we're probably going to spend 5 to 10 minutes here. This is a great, great essential oil uh, regarding emotions. It is the essential oil of gratitude. Sarah, I will take the end of this. I would love to hear what you want to share about spikenard.
So I love that it's the oil of gratitude and release because like there's so much symbolism. There's so much symbolism in this oil, but it's been long revered as an anointing oil. We just talked about that, right? With Mary.
Mhm.
But it's also listed in other parts of the Bible. So go back, read it. Also known as the Balm of Gilead. So if that's something that like sounds
Mm.
familiar to your ears of like Bible study in the past, like I invite you to read about the Balm of Gilead and Spikenard. Go look in your uh, Bible topics and find it there. I would have the reference for you, but I don't have it right off the top of my head. Okay, it softens the heart's resistance, and reveals beauty of closure. Do you need closure in your life for something? I always think of like, we want this closure, and sometimes we never get closure in this life.
Thank you. I was
Some,
just about to say that. How many times in our lives have we not received the closure we've been desiring?
and we
Oh,
desire closure because then our brain can move on, right?
yep.
But
We need to
sometimes we'll
close the
never get it.
loop.
Sometimes we'll never get it because sometimes we feel we're owed an apology, and maybe that person will never be able to apologize to us. Maybe we feel like there was things that were left unsaid or undone in previous chapters of our lives that we can never go back and fix or change, right? But this is going to help you to emotionally get the closure you want. It's going to help you to have gratitude with what's already happened, and then you're going to have that peace that follows. So this is where it's the gratitude and the release, because then once you have that gratitude in place, you can release those feelings of anger, frustration, whatever it is that you feel like you need closure on. And then you can receive that peace of letting go, because there is
Yeah.
this peace that comes with letting go from this process. And it comforts people. It comforts during symbolic deaths, times when soul has asked to surrender what once was defined it. Okay, so let's this is deep. Like this is deep. Like let's dive into that sentence right there. Comfort during symbolic deaths. Think about like new chapters of your life. Think about moving on from different parts of your life. Maybe it's a new job, maybe it's a new place to live, maybe it's a new relationship. Maybe it's an old relationship that has finally like you've done what you can in that relationship and it's time to move on, whether that be a friendship or a romantic relationship partner, or maybe it's your a family member. Maybe it's time to um heal from that time period. And it's time to allow that symbolic death to occur. Allow it to die. Allow that friendship that was toxic to die. Allow yourself to mourn and grieve a time period of your life. Maybe, hey, maybe you've got a milestone birthday coming up and you need to grieve the past decade. I know for me, when I turned 30, I needed to grieve my 20s. I needed to. I had to have closure and grieve my 20s. I had to go through that period of time. Now, looking back, I'm like, oh, that was probably silly. And I know I had a lot of friends that were in their 30s, and I even had a 40-year-old friend be like, girl, do not be sad that your 20s are over. And I needed that time. I needed that time to grieve what was and what that symbolized for my life. And it wasn't like, I don't know why it hit me so hard, but it had. And no other age has ever hit me that hard, ever, in for the rest of my life. But it did that time. And it's just symbolic for me. And it helps us to get back into divine flow. It helps us to get back into the flow of life after we've had that grieving process and slough it off, because now it's time to open up this brand new chapter, this new beginning. It's time to be grateful for the previous chapters of life. And now we're ready for this brand new beginning. And I think spring is such a great time to like think about this, to slough off the death of winter and to bring into something to renew and renewal time frame. Like like I love that we're bringing it into spring, right? This idea of like the winter
Mhm.
death is over and now we're bringing in this renewal. And this is why like babies are born this time of year, like baby animals are born this time of year. We're talking like chicks and baby bunnies and all these things in nature are born during this time of year. It's a big birthing season for cows and sheep and stuff. And I'm not talking like artificially like making them mating happen, right? I'm talking about what happens in the end of winter as animals are starting to come alive from their hibernation time period. They're starting to be hungry, they're eating more, and then they're like, hey, we got other needs we got to satisfy. And then all of these babies are born, right? So it is this wonderful time for us to like move through this symbolic sloughing off death period and moving into renewal, newness, starting that next chapter, the next thing. I love spring. This is why we do spring cleaning, right? Like this is why we like get rid of the old, out with the old, in with the new, freshen everything up, because there's this time of rebirth. And that's what we
Mm.
think of it as, like this rebirth time.
Yes, all the above, yes. In the book, the Essential Emotions book, it states Spikenard helps individuals find meaning in the pain, gratitude for the love that was shared, and peace with the mystery of what can no longer be held. Spikenard reminds the soul that nothing can be lost, nothing real can be lost. It anchors the spirit in divine presence and offers rest in what is eternal. It teaches the spirit's strength is not only found in what one holds onto, but in what they are willing to return. Spikenard acts as a companion at the threshold, inviting peace in the face of the unknown, gratitude for the gift of life, and remembrance of this sacred knowing that lives beyond words. Anybody, now please turn your ears on a little bit more. Anybody struggling through grief, this is a very, very good oil to gift, to invite them into using. And I know a few people, as soon as my day is done, I'm going to be connecting with them and inviting them in to take part, because we shouldn't do it alone. And this is one of those tools that you can lean on a consistent basis to help your heart heal and move through it. You want to feel less of the heaviness, Spikenard. If you want to tap into gratitude, Spikenard. If you want more spiritual clarity, Spikenard. There's a lot here, but this, to me, this oil is reminding us we are so not alone. And there's so much love. And through the clouds that can be covering you, especially those that need the soil on an emotional level, this helps clear that fog.
Yeah,
I've put it to work and
it's so
I
good.
get to put it to work. Yeah, it's so good. It is so good. Sarah, what are some other things you wanted to share?
Um, I was just thinking about like this idea of like there's different parts, not just losing a loved one, of grief. There's grief can come from lots of different things. Grieving parts of our lives that are lost, grieving chapters, grieving relationships. There's a lot, it's if you are feeling grief and it might not just be about death for you. Maybe you are
Correct.
grieving a time period of your life or a job. I know I was talking to someone one time and they were telling me about this job. They had this amazing job, paid was great. Um, but the work conditions of the management, the manager, the person in charge or whatever, was very, I would say borderline abusive, right? Verbally. And this person, she was just going through this was really hard for her. She loved her job. She loved what she did, didn't love this person who wasn't nice to her, but loved her job, loved what she did for the company. Just felt. And so then she got a different job. And I can't remember if she was just let go from the company or if she just decided to, I think she decided to like sever ties with them. And she lost quite a bit of income because of her idea of this idea. And she went to this new company. But when she was telling me this, she had just started with this new company and loved it, doing basically the same thing she was doing before and was very good at her job. But she was deeply sad and grieving the loss of that job. Even though she had a new job, paid better, better hours, better everything, she still grieved the loss of what had happened and how it all went down. And she was in deep, deep grief over this job. And she just sat there and I mean, we sat in her living room and she just cried. She just cried to me and um, really opened up about how sad, how deeply devastated she was about this job.
Hmm.
And I think we have to remember that it's not always losing a loved one that we can grieve. We can grieve a job. I have another friend whose husband just lost his job, and he is struggling with the grief of losing that particular job. Even though, we think of, oh, like just go get another job, right? Sometimes some of us are just like, it's not that big, it's not that deep, or it's not that big a deal. To some people, it's a very big deal.
Yeah.
To some people, they love their coworkers, they love the environment. Um, and downsizing happened or right sizing or whatever you want to call that. Things happen. And but we have to be really sensitive, I think, to what people's needs are of their grief, because it might not look the same to us, right? Like we might look at that as okay, okay, get a different job, or okay, your pet died. Okay, get another turtle. Like we think of that, but at the same time, their loss is being felt very deeply for them, no matter what it is. And patience. Patience is always a good thing to have with people, especially when they're going through something like this. Um, so grief can come in all different forms and it can look very, very different. And people can go through grief very differently. Some people deal with grief in anger and frustration, and other people deal with it in sobbing and crying. And some people deal with it in not saying anything at all.
Yeah.
And they're
Just shutting
stoic
down.
and shutting
Hmm.
down and yeah, and depression and not getting out of bed. It can look so different for every single person. And just because somebody's not grieving the same way you would doesn't make that it wrong.
Yeah, it doesn't. There's one last thing I want to share about spikenard on the emotional level, and it's from the book because they say it so beautifully. In it, it says it reminds the heart that even in loss, wisdom is gathered, and blessings often arrive in disguise. And one human to another, this is absolutely true. And what's interesting is that sometimes as a human, we get caught up in how we feel other people should feel and how they should react and their experience, when in fact, we have no control over a reaction, a feeling that another person has over the same situation that you are going through. The experience that you're going to feel, that you are going to walk, is going to be completely different on every single level because guess what? We are uniquely created in his image. So
Yeah.
it's a gentle reminder for you to understand that you will never truly understand what the other person is going through because we're not them. Even though it's the same situation. It's like if, so for instance, I lost my mother when I was in first grade. Okay. Yes, grief can get heavy, but my grief looked completely different than my sister, but we lost the same mother. Or
Hmm.
I walked away from a job that I had for 13 years in the school system. You better bet your bottom dollar I grieved that, right? But nobody else will have that same exact experience. So Spikenard gets to come in. You get to allow it in and help you with the attachment, with the emptiness, with the grief, with the fear of the change, right? Raise your hand if you're fearful of change. Yeah, I struggle with that too. You're in good company. But Spikenard is here to help you. Diffusing it. Wonderful. Diffuse it in the
Mm.
area that you're most in. Okay? If you can't diffuse it, put the bottle in your pocket. Open the bottle, take 3 to 5 deep breaths every hour, every 20 minutes if you need to. Let the oil help you. That's what it's there to do. Sarah, I'm good for a scoop. Is there any last words you want to share?
No, I think we covered it really well. I love this
Yeah.
oil. I think everybody needs to try it. And it might not be your favorite at first, and that's okay.
Hmm.
That's okay, because I think that means there's some things that it's inviting you to work on and work through.
Hmm.
I don't think it needs to be a favorite. I love this oil. I have deep connection to this oil, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be your favorite oil. It is probably
Hmm.
not my favorite oil to smell. If
Hmm.
I'm going to be completely honest, I love the effects of it though. I
Hmm.
love how I feel when I'm diffusing this oil.
When you put it to work, the reaction you get is always the one you need.
Mm, yeah,
Hmm. So what's your scoop of the day, friend?
I've got a diffuser blend.
I love it. Love it, love
Are
it,
you
love
shocked? Are you shocked? Is anybody
it.
shocked? Raise your hand if you're shocked. No. Seriously, I love it with wild orange. But there's
Mhm.
one other oil. There's
Oh
one
man, upping the ante. Is it Madagascar vanilla?
wintergreen.
Oh, okay.
Wintergreen, people.
Yeah.
Wintergreen. So, wintergreen, my wintergreen is it's got a childproof cap on it, dang it. Oh, there it goes. Wintergreen is so good. Like it smells like gum, right? Like that's what it smells like with the gum. But when you mix wintergreen with spikenard, have you ever mixed wintergreen and spikenard together?
Uh-huh. I have. But I smell the wintergreen. It's different. You just have to try it. Sarah's right. It just works together. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then, guys, then you add the wild orange with it, and I'm telling you, you can't go wrong. It smells so, so, so good. And spoiler alert, our next episode is all about abundance. And so we're going to talk about abundance. And I'm telling you right now, this little concoction, you might want to try it for your abundance issues as well.
Mm-hmm. That blend, that trio, the wild orange, spikenard, and wintergreen, I've actually put in my diffuser in my bathroom for like bath time. Like
Oh,
it's a
good.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would put um 2 drops of spikenard, 2 drops of wintergreen, and 4 drops of wild orange.
Mm. Friends, if I were you, I would absolutely diffuse that. My scoop of the day is to take action and actually do Sarah's diffuser blend. I know that there's some area in your life that we hit home with in this conversation. So my gut's telling me you will reap some really great benefits if you allow these oils to help you with your healing. Okay, friends, we're going to see you in the next one.
Thanks for tuning in, and we hope you enjoyed today's episode and are feeling inspired to dive in even deeper into the world of essential oils. Want exclusive offers, content, and recipes? Click on the newsletter link in the show notes today. Looking for even more wellness inspiration? Dive into our previous episodes and stay in the loop by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at the Essential Oil Scoop Podcast. Thanks for being a part of our essential oil family. And remember, hit the subscribe button to be notified every time we upload a brand new episode.